Okay, everybody, what I want to do today is I'm going to build some drawers for my CNC table. First thing I did was I created this cabinet out of Easel Cabinet Maker using MDF, 3/4 inch MDF, and I would say I'd used mostly scrap wood, just kind of kicking around. It's a little rough as my machine wasn't perfectly synced or perfectly in tune, but I'm still going to use it, and I want to build a drawer, and then I'm going to put it underneath my table to store some of my tools. This is the drawer that I made from Easel Cabinet Maker, and for some reason I wasn't looking, and it made it only 15 inches deep, and I want an 18-inch deep drawer, so I'm just going to copy this design and I'm going to make it from scratch in Easel. So what I want is I want this type of joint, all right, in our corners, and then I will go, instead of a 3/4 inch bottom here of MDF that I just had lying around, I'm going to go the 1/4 inch recommended. So that's what I'm going to build in Easel. Okay, so the first thing that we have is we're going to use 1/2 inch plywood. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to just make 4 simple squares. And I know that the width for all of these is going to be 3.5 inches. And I need 2 of them to be 17. So the first one's going to be 17 by 3.5. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm just going to go to the cut. I'm going to go on the outside of the shape path, and I want to go all the way through. And that is good there. And I'm going to duplicate that. Actually, I'm going to make one full drawer, and then I'm going to duplicate it. So just zoom in here. And on this one, we need just the ends to be cut out by 1/2 or 1/4 of an inch. So here, and I'm going to make a square, and it's going to be 3.5 by 1/4. And let's go here, and I can go width 3.5, and it's going to go 1/4 of an inch right there. And that is going to sit right on the end. Now what I want to do is I want to align it. I'm going to take this and hit both of them, and I want it to be at the top, okay, and I want it to be on either side. There we go. And for this one, I want it to go down 1/4 of an inch. So it's going to pocket out a small amount, and I want to duplicate that. Copy, paste, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, and I see that's moved, so I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to align it to the left and to the right. Okay, and this one, I'm going to drop it down to the very bottom, and I'm going to align it to the left and to the right and to the bottom. There we go, and it should be 1/4 of an inch, and we just wanted to clear out that pocket. Now this one, of course, moved on me. So let's make sure that is left, right, top. right bottom. Now, I have that, and that should be good. So I can, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group those, and I'm going to duplicate it. So copy and paste. And I'm just going to move it over. And actually, the one other thing I should have done was just check the tabs. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change that tab to be a little bit bigger, 0.25, just so it doesn't move in my cut. And I'm going to change this one as well, change the tabs so that it is 0.25, just so that the piece doesn't move, and that should be good. Okay, so now I've got the two pieces done, and I just need two more pieces. So I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to make them 3.5. Let's just go half and cut outside the shape, and our 0.25 for our tabs. And then I am going to change the shape to be 3.5 and oops, 18, because I want an 18-inch drawer. Okay, move this down. Should be right about there. Okay, now the thing that we need is we need a little pocket that will sit a 1/2 inch in. So I'm going to use my measuring tape. And I'm going to click from here, and I'm going to go 1/2 inch in, just so I know where it is. Of course, it's going to type it in. There we go, 1/2 inch in, and I need a box that goes 18 inches high and 0.25 inches wide for a 1/4 inch plywood that's going to go on the bottom. Okay, and it's going to go right there, and it's going to go in a 1/4 inch. And we want to clear out a pocket. Nope, and I hit the wrong one. This one is clear out a pocket, 1/4 inch, and let's just get it aligned. So this is going to be to the bottom. Okay, and the only other thing that we need is we need 2 lines at the top and bottom. So we need another box that is going to go 1/4 inch wide. Actually, let's go 3.5. This box is going to go the opposite way for the cutout, and the height is going to be 0.25. And we are going to cut it a 1/4 inch deep. It's going to clear out a pocket. And if I zoom out, oops. I have no idea where that went. Let's try that again. Oh, it's over here. All right, we want it to be 3.5 inches. And we want it to be 0.25. Okay, and we want it to go down 1/4 of an inch and clear out a pocket. Now we need this 1/4 of an inch in. So let's zoom in. Let's move these together so they're on there. Okay, and we are going to go 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to measure this 0.25. Okay, and take that. Right there. And let's just make sure it's aligned with the left-hand side. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate this. So copy and paste. And we're going to put it way up at the top. And let's measure 0.25 to be there. And let's move this in line with that and align it to the side. Okay, we have our 3 pieces there. That looks pretty good. We can check here. And we can see that this outside line is not going all the way through. So something must have happened there. So let's go all the way through. There we go. We should have it now. Now, if I group this whole thing, let's group all of it, edit, group, copy, paste. All right, we should have enough now to make our drawer. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut these in 2 different ways. I'm not going to use a big piece of wood like this. I'm going to try to find some scrap material and use my scrap in order to make these boxes. So I'm going to actually cut these in smaller pieces. I'm going to cut these 2 at the same time and then these 2 on another piece of scrap wood that I have lying around. Here I have the pieces set up in G-Sender, and I'm only going to cut these 2 pieces because this is the size of scrap wood that I have. I use the X, Y, and Z auto touch plate for my probe. So I'm just going to select that. And it's going to ask for that connectivity. Of course, I'm going to touch my plate to the bit, and I'm going to probe that. Okay, and this is kind of my finished drawer, and I'll just show you some of the design features. So this is the corner in which it's going to butt up there, and the other corner. And then on this side, I have my bottom in there. I haven't glued anything up yet, but I originally had it so that the inside of the bottom would be flush against there, and this would go all the way to the bottom. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut it off right here, and then that way there's more structural support kind of in that bottom of the drawer. And that's how we've got it here. I kind of like that design. I could be a little bit more precise with that cut, but that's okay. I think the only thing I would rather do is, because this doesn't sit into this piece, I might change the design for these corners so that I can cut a groove into this panel here, or so that this panel sits inside there. And that's maybe a design that I'm going to try next. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I am honest in my knowledge of using a CNC, and it is kind of a journey that I'm excited about, and I'm learning every day with every little project that I've been doing. If you have any questions, concerns, or you just want to criticize my woodworking or video making skill set, go ahead. I'd love the feedback from you guys. If there's anything that I can answer in any sort of question, I'd love to do so. Again, if you like to follow along my journey, like and subscribe, and definitely comment good or bad. I'm okay with that. Have a great day. Thanks a lot.